Hello, my name is Michael Kira, that user advocate guy. I want to talk about a concept which is very important in terms of user interface design, and that's the concept of roles. Roles are sets of tasks that a user has to carry out in order to achieve a certain goal. And I want to explain that in terms of household chores. I have a couple of chores here of things to do around the house. I want to take a look at a couple of them and we'll describe what I mean by that. So the first one is I have to fix these Christmas tree lights. They got snipped, unfortunately, so I have to repair that. And the other one is I want to hang this painting on the wall. Now to do this, we're going to need tools, and I keep all my tools in a toolbox. Very handy for storing these things so we don't lose them. But when it comes to actually doing the jobs, there's a problem. It's very heavy, and I really don't want to carry this all around the house. So I have a different idea. Take out the things I want and pop them into a different box, and I'm just going to take these to the place where I'm going to do the work. So when I take on all these different household chores, it's like taking on different roles. And to carry out those roles efficiently, all I need is the smallest set of tools. Having them sorted out like that allows me to quickly and easily put my hands on the right tool at the right time so I can do the job that I need to do. So to carry out the role of picture hanging, all I need is a very few tools: the measure, the pencil, the hammer, and it makes it much easier to actually get the job done because I'm not fussing around that big toolbox. The same is true of software design. One of the things that makes software complicated and difficult to use is that there's too many things on the screen. I call that screenware, like hardware, software, screenware. If there's too much of that stuff on the screen, it's difficult to look at, difficult to understand, and difficult to find the precise tool that you need to do that task at that time. A role-oriented approach to user interface design is like what we did with the toolbox, and we took certain things out that we needed to do a certain role, and we put that on the screen. It makes it much simpler, much easier to use, much easier to understand. Here's one example of the kind of impact that a role-oriented design approach can have on screenware. This is the interface for managing a panels page in Drupal, the open source web platform. Now we've been looking at ways to simplify this interface, and we found that by simply pulling out the bits that belong to another role, we were able to refactor the entire design concept so that it's less overwhelming and easier to understand. It allowed us actually to change the entire interaction layout strategy. Now speaking of Drupal, the term role is used in a significantly different way. It's not used to describe sets of tasks as we've been talking about it now. It's actually used to describe a mechanism for controlling access and permissions. When you define a role in Drupal, you're just checking off all these various permissions and allowing a user who has that role to do certain things. So they can see certain content, they can use certain tools. That's not the same as the actual sets of tasks that they're doing to achieve certain goals. Now, access control in the household chores context is like this. It's like having a key. Now, we don't think about it. If we normally live in a house, we don't think about how important that key is to carry out these tasks. But if we didn't have this key, we wouldn't be able to actually get to the place where we do that work. So it's important, but it's not the same thing as roles.